So we spent a little bit of time talking about cultural differences and some disparities in general communication. There is also some considerations that I would encourage to be taken when we speak generationally. So there are some differences in presentation, in needs, when we compare youth and adolescents to older adults, for example. So when communicating about mental health concerns with the youth population, it's really important to avoid minimizing their experience or their feelings. It's really important to acknowledge and validate their experiences. Open-ended questions are so important with the youth population. Again, this doesn't apply to everyone, but open-ended questions can really help to create space for more detailed and authentic answers. Appearing very relaxed, making good but appropriate eye contact can be really important. Taking into consideration their background, so their cultural background, as well as potentially their, if they have neurodivergence, things like autism, eye contact can be more uncomfortable there. So again, making adjustments based on the individual characteristics. Really trying to avoid being shocked or acting judgmental or critical with a youthful population is really important. Social support is often very important. So helping to identify who they have to turn to, who they have available. It's important to not just tell people to cheer up or pull yourself together or, you need to calm down. It's not a big deal. Those kinds of minimizing, deflecting sorts of communication tends to not be as well received in a younger population. They also often do well when you tell them what they're doing right. If you provide that positive reinforcement, acknowledge what they've done well. Being respectful of their privacy. So they may not want to disclose to their family members that they are gender diverse, and we have to respect those kinds of things. It's important if they are, under the age of 18, that they're aware of information that will be maintained as private versus information that may need to be shared. And that's going to depend on the type of conversation and the information and if you're, a required reporter, etc. For older adults, once again, not necessarily true for all older adults, but it's important to be encouraging. It's important to challenge stereotypes. Older adults tend to internalize their faults in a lot of ways and blame themselves for how they're feeling or try to diminish the importance of how they're feeling. Things like depression, cognitive impairment, anxiety are often considered a part of the aging process and minimized by older adults, when that should not be the case, right? If people are feeling depressed or feeling like they have difficulty concentrating or remembering things, we shouldn't write it off as a part of, oh, you're just getting older, okay? Challenging isolation. So older adults often will start moving into a more isolated space in the sense of people around them may be dying because they're getting older, and as you get older, you're more likely to die. If you've retired, you may not have that support of a working group, right? And trying to offer them that kind of support, try to really encourage them, that can be really helpful. Reminding them they're not alone, that comparison is the thief of all joy, but they're also not the only one who's had these experiences, but it's not their fault they're experiencing it. We can offer things to help them get better. And the quicker that they do that, the more likely they are to feel better. So really trying to frame it from that way. It's also important to recognize that a lot of times where they're older adults, they may experience physical symptoms of fatigue, headaches, pain, etc., more often than endorsing mental health symptoms. So, keying into some of those kinds of things can be really helpful when communicating and assessing for mental health concerns in our older adults. And because of these social isolation, because of some of the specific challenges we see more often in this population, encouragement to engage in support and engage in social groups can be really helpful in teaching coping skills and even communication skills for this population.